Miss Habiba Kahinde. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks. It's really nice to see you guys again.
So without much ado, I want to welcome Camilla Nontra.
Yay!
Oh my goodness! I should come to you every day when I need.
Correct. This is Sudan.
Wow.
Sudan. Believe it or not, Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt.
Interesting.
Begin to think in a Pan-African way, because they now see that their conditions are not just about that local space, but the condition is linked to all of the other.
Hello. Good morning, everybody from California. Good afternoon if you live in the East Coast, like my brother Jesse. Good evening if you live in Ghana on GMT time. This is the Pan-Africanism show. My name is Fred Nontra. We start by thanking God. By Him we live, we move. And how are you doing today, Jesse?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Happy to make it another week. And I've gotten through the COVID vaccine, so I'm great.
Well, we're going to start off by talking about the COVID vaccine. Well, I had my first shot, I think last week. Okay. And, nothing, no occurrence, just a little soreness on my left arm. That was it. But my co-host, Jesse, had both shots. And how did it go?
So first shot, I had absolutely no problems. Just a little arm soreness that comes from any shot that you put a needle in your arm. And then my second shot, people built up all this anxiety leading up to the second shot because I had people who were, basically out for the count with the second shot. It was everything from flu-like symptoms to chills to all this stuff. So I went in with high anxiety, but also with the satisfaction of knowing that I'd be fully vaccinated once I got the second shot. And I had it and came out and was able to have a full day after the shot. No problems, little arm soreness, but that's okay. Second day, same deal, went out, tried to exercise a little bit, did great. And then right after the Escape SWV versus that evening, I started feeling a little groggy, which is odd for me because I don't really, I'm a night owl. So I'm usually up until really late and I get up early in the morning. But while I was, after I just finished, jamming to a great versus battle on Instagram, I started feeling dizzy. I started feeling like confused, and I sat down for a second and was like, okay, maybe, something I ate, something I drank. And then when I stood back up, it came back to me. So I was like, I'm tired. I'm just going to go to bed and I'll deal with it tomorrow. So I went to sleep. And when I woke up the next morning, nothing, absolutely nothing. So no chills, no flu-like symptoms, none of that stuff that other people were talking about. And now I have the satisfaction of knowing I'm vaccinated. I have my card. I'm a card-carrying member of the vaccinated population. And the world is now reopening for me. So I am planning to go places and do things because now I can. So I encourage everybody, if you haven't done so already, make sure you get vaccinated. And I know people have different viewpoints and stuff about vaccinations, and that's cool. Whatever you want to believe, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're going to feel some type of way when you're still sitting in the house with a mask on and everybody else is on the beach, right?
It's and it's there's a reason for all the skepticism surrounding it because of the history of what has gone on with our people, and
absolutely,
especially with the syphilis, when our people were given, that was just a brutal, inhumane thing to do to anyone. And and not only that, things that have gone on in Africa in the past, and sometimes the West sending expired drugs and medications over. So that brings about the skepticism and making people question whether it's just for financial gain or it's actually they really do care about us, and that's totally fair. But then we also have people, scientists who have nothing to gain that have, promoted and talked about it. So, and me being blessed with the resident scientist in the house, explaining what the mRNA means and what it does. The body gets rid of it pretty quickly, and your body builds a defense in case, God forbid, the COVID tries to, jump on you.
Absolutely.
And make you sick. It's going to fight it off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There is definitely a rich history of medical experimentation. And I will say that Johnson & Johnson's didn't do anybody any favors with all these news stories that came out. Exactly. But at the same time, I still think, I want people to understand, I've had conversations or at least email exchanges with Kizzmekia Corbett, who is one of the scientists who helped to design this vaccine. And she is brilliant. She's been brilliant forever. She's one of us. I feel confident.
Where's she from again?
She's from North Carolina.
I was surprised you didn't bring that up.
She's from North Carolina. And so, I'm very proud of her, but I also feel like this was, we're in a generation that is living through a number of what they call like historical events, right? Like this is unprecedented. We made it through a Trump administration. We made it through COVID, and we're still here. So I want us to be galvanized. And for those of us who haven't already done what we need to do to ensure that we're protected and at least to stop the spread, try to go ahead and, do your research, but try to go ahead, get yourself in a position. And I want you all to know, I think they've lowered the eligibility requirements now so that like people as young as 12 can get it. So they're starting to like dip into like vaccinating the kids now. And it's all part of the push to reopen America and get kids back in school and get life back to normal and all that stuff. So, do your research, but at the same time, I will say as somebody who has gotten through all the shots, it feels a lot better now knowing that I'm protected. I won't die from it. Doesn't mean you can't still get it. It means that you won't die from it. So, now we're back to the main threat being fried chicken and macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, so that's another thing. When you're in better health, you eat well, you eat your greens, your salads, your balanced diets, protein, and less carbs, and less fried food. You're gonna be okay, and then go for your walks and bike and run. Bike like my brother. He's making me kind of jealous because now I want to get a bike too. So I can get back in shape, because that helps to keep us healthy, in case, God forbid, something, tries to attack your body, you can stay healthy. But before we go on, we're going to talk about Pan-Africanism. But I'll be remiss if I didn't do this because my co-hosts just got promoted to being a full professor a couple of weeks ago.
Yay! Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm really proud of you, and I know the Pan-Africana community is proud of you. You just got promoted to a full professor at Duke University in the law school at Duke University. So help me congratulate my brother. How does it feel?
Hey man, it feels great. It feels great. Know where I'm going to be at least for the next 3 years. This is a great feeling. So yeah, man, I just want to thank everybody. I know folks have probably been trying to reach out to me, and I've been working around the clock, trying to make sure I get so many things done in so little time. So I apologize in advance for anybody I missed out on, but I appreciate all the well wishes, all the prayers, all the greetings. It all came to fruition. And to the extent that I can help anybody, I'm happy to do that, to teach you about how this works, what to do, what it looks like, how to not pull your hair out while you're doing it. Nadine, hey!
Nadine.
So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing what I can contribute moving forward.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, Nadine. It's good to see you. Oh, Michael says congratulations, Professor.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I like your new picture, Michael, looking all professional. Yeah, that's our other other lawyer, but he's on the other side of the coast, on the side of the world in Nigeria, doing a great job of helping the unfortunate, helping people get justice for people who are normally wouldn't get justice, and
absolutely,
he's in the trenches and helping others, and God bless you for that. Yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Pan-Africanism. What really happened? How did it get started? Well, if you've been part of the show for a while, we had Dr. Harry come on. Harry, who wrote a book about Edward Blyden. I'll put it up shortly. And Edward Blyden, he was a gentleman from the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, who grew up in St. Thomas, moved over to the U.S., tried to study here in New Jersey. It did not really work out. He studied, and then he moved to Liberia, and went through different phases of his life. And he came up with he was one of the original people who really promoted Pan-Africanism, because he experienced both worlds. He experienced racism on this side and went to Liberia and dealt with the Americo-Liberians who left the U.S. for Liberia and saw the effects of racism and imperialism and all that, and wanted us as people to be united. And also that led to W.E.B. Du Bois promoting the idea of Pan-Africanism. And another person who really promoted it was Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, who kept fighting for the whole continent to be united. And because when we're united, we're going to be more powerful. And he also encouraged the brothers in the diaspora to move back to Africa, and especially Ghana. A lot of people like W.B. Du Bois, George Pardimore from the Caribbean also moved to Ghana and, had full lives living there. And even one doctor a dentist who worked on my wife was one of those people. He moved back to Ghana in the 60s and lived there till, I don't know whether he's still alive now, but yeah, so that's how it all started. And Kwame Nkrumah and Jomo Kenyatta from Kenya also promoted the idea. We also had people like Haile Selassie from Ethiopia and other, Julius Nyerere kept promoting, but somehow it got stonewalled at some point. When we had leaders that came up who tried to promote the idea, we had outside sources from nowhere try to crumble those efforts to unite us. And somehow anytime there's progress being made, it's crumbled. And then the source was that people from the inside were acting as agents for outside agencies like the CIA. And yes, I did say it.
Yes.
Yeah, CIA and other intelligence agencies from the West, British intelligence, French intelligence, Belgian intelligence, and all that.
Right.
That's a little background.
And I just want to add, I think the person who, at least in this hemisphere, who made it such a big deal was Marcus Garvey, right? I do not want to forget him because this was someone who was a literary genius and someone who was a leader and knew how to mobilize people and actually put money where his mouth was, right? So he put money up in starting the Black Star Line, where was going to design cruise ships to take Black people back. And as soon as he got those boats ready and gassed up to go, the CIA came and they accused him of tax evasion and deported him back to Jamaica. So what I've noticed historically is that any effort that has been launched to try to bring Black people together on an international scale always gets torpedoed. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason. The reason is that a lot of the division that has been cultivated between our cultures, be it in Africa, be it in America, be it in the Caribbean, wherever, that division was stoked by people who do not want to see you unified because they understand that your unification is power, right? Could you imagine, just think about a world where you don't have to go to a white bank for a loan, where you don't have to go and rely on white people for any kind of business strategy, business plan, business capital, anything. We just put our heads together and we come up with our own programs to help all of our people, right? And if we find a way to access our resources without the need of colonizer interference, then we can actually compete on a much greater scale and probably dominate. If it's anything like I've seen happening in Africa or anything like I've seen happening in America, in the NBA, NFL, we dominate when we get there, right? I think the issue is we have to come up with creative ways of bringing this all together. And unfortunately, what happens is whenever there's traction or movement to get us on that path, there's somebody else who drops some seed of divisiveness between us, be it food challenges on TikTok or how people dress or how people pronounce things or whatever the case may be. There's always going to be, I think, even though we're one people, we do have cultural differences. And I think that there are always going to be issues with cultural differences, particularly for those who move from one place to another and getting adjusted to a new place. I've also seen on TikTok a lot of people who, when they move to the United States, and they're like, oh, people aren't friendly here. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a thing, right? It's kind of a thing. Not everybody's mean, but it takes time for people to warm up to you because everybody's on their own hustle, right? Likewise, there are people who, if you go to another country, like let's say you go to Ghana, we have a lot of people who are saying, I'm packing up, I'm going to Ghana, I'm changing. But what I want people to understand is when you get to Ghana, you have to want to be part of the culture and understand the culture. You don't want to be a colonizer, right? Like you don't want to go and be like, I'm making it to my advantage. You want to go and be part of the community. So I'm hoping that through this show, what we can do is start building those bridges amongst all of us. So we can say, let's have a conversation. Let's do this. Let's connect and see where we can go. And to make sure that I am doing my part as well, I am trying to figure out who I am and what I am. So to that extent, I have gone ahead and taken the liberty as of yesterday of ordering my DNA test from AfricanAncestry.com. I get my packet, they say in 8 days, so it'll be here in a week. I'll document and put on the Instagram page kind of what it looks like, how it goes, and send it off and then wait and see. But the good thing about AfricanAncestry.com is assuming that my Y chromosomes historically can link me back to Africa, they will tell me who, not only like what region I'm from, but what tribe I am from. So I can figure out who I am. Michael, we might be cousins and we don't even know it, right? so we're going to find out for sure.
Michael will embrace you. Welcome you with open arms.
We're going to find out for sure, but I'm still taking guesses. So anybody who wants to put in a guess on either Instagram or the Facebook page, I'm tabulating all the guesses that come in and we're going to see who turns out to be right. We're going to see. Yes, we have to bring it all together.
my money is on Ghana, Nigeria mix, and then Togolese. I don't know how I got a Togolese, but then the 3 countries.
Okay.
And then of course you're gonna have the other European mixtures. Yeah. Yeah,
they weed those out. They're gonna we're gonna act like that never happened, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Nadine had talked when we talked about Marcus Garvey. Say yes, Jahiro, yes. Jamaica. Yeah, he's in Jamaica. Absolutely. Shout out to our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. We have Nadine, who's also in North Carolina. She's actually in the same. She's in the my co-host Jesse's alma mater.
Yes. And
this is the book about Blyden. Click on it and you can purchase it and some help support our brother Professor Harry Odampton. He wrote the book, and it's a great book. Talks about Pan-Africanism. You'd be surprised what you discover there and see the greatness that we're part of. Michael says, Jesse, you are definitely a Nigerian, maybe a Nigerian of a Yoruba extraction.
You will see. We will see.
Yeah. I mean, that's possible. I agree with Michael, but I don't think it will be full or be fully Nigerian. That's my money. My money, he still has some Ghanaian blood in him.
We will see. I am curious about it. So, this is extra special for me because I don't know my father and I don't have that great of a relationship, and I don't know anything about his lineage at all. So this tracks just your Y chromosomes to go back to wherever in origin you're from, and I can find out so much about who I am without having to get to know people that I don't want to know and figure it all out. So we'll see, but I'm very curious. I also want to go back a little bit, and I want to talk about W.E.B. Du Bois, who over time has had his image kind of like fade out into the historic past. But this guy was amazing. If you haven't done any research on W.E.B. Du Bois, you should do it. He is someone, first of all, one of the first Black students at Harvard, right? So that should tell you already he's a genius. He's going to Harvard at a time where people are roughly newly freed, right? Like they've been free roughly about 20 years at that point. So he goes to Harvard, he studies sociology, and he writes books to white people about racism, which is just a courageous thing to do in the 1800s and at the turn of the 1900s. All right. And while he's writing these books, he's trying to influence Black people here to understand kind of what the sociology of Black and what racism has done to Black people. So terms that we use now, double consciousness. If you're not from America, you may not be familiar with this, but in America, if you're Black, you're essentially two people. You're the person you are at work and then you're the person you are at home. That is all something that W.E.B. Du Bois picked up on and wrote about. He also talks about our traditions and the things that we do. And he did extensive study on this before he even started traveling. And once he started traveling, he realized the connections that these events we do really date back to what was going on in Africa before we even got here. These are traditions that people, despite going through the misery of the Middle Passage and transatlantic slave trade and all the stuff that happened once you get here, they were still somehow able to recall and remember and to continue practicing, even so to the point that now in 2021, we still do a lot of the same things. We may not necessarily know why we do it. We just do it because our mom told us to do it, right? So I found someone on TikTok who I'm trying to get to come on the show, who does a breakdown of all the things that she's seen in American culture that really go back to African culture. So she was talking about, what is this thing with Black Americans not using your left hand to pass people things and to shake hands? It was like, well, I was taught that you don't give anybody anything with your left hand. That's just, I don't know why. And she was like, yeah, that's actually an African thing. We saw
it is. Well, growing up, interesting that you say that. Growing up you're told never, and it's rude. I mean, to this day, if you go to Ghana, and anyone who is going to Ghana, please do not go hand anything. Don't hand anything to someone with the, even when you're at the immigration, don't hand your passport to the immigration officer with your left hand. You're gonna get an earful. Thank God most of us are conscious enough because of how we're brought up. You're gonna know better not to hand anything or try to shake someone. I mean, I've even had people, shake with their left hand, which is totally not part of the culture. Because your left hand is supposed to be doing other things, which are that are not I don't want to describe on the show. So that's why we don't use our left hand. Right hand is for shaking, to greet anyone, even if you're waving, use your right hand. To pick up food, you don't use your left hand, use your right hand. That's why we eat with our right hand. So that's the whole background with that.
That's interesting.
And I wanted to also respond to Nadine. Yeah, Kenya is interesting because not too many people were taken out of Kenya. Too many of our brothers and sisters were taken out of Kenya, and Chad is smack in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It was mostly West Africa, which is Senegal, Ghana, Gambia, Nigeria, Sierra Leone area, Liberia. That West Africa because it was quick to come. It was quick enough. You could come to West Africa, pick up people, and then go. Although some people were captured out of East Africa, Kenya, the Congo, and all that, but it wasn't that many. So most people are more likely to be Nigerian, Ghanaian, of Senegalese, Guinea, and all that descent. So yeah, not likely to. I don't think Jesse is Kenya or Chad. I'll be shocked if there is.
You never know.
You never know, but I doubt it because of history. Okay, so you were talking about W.E.B. Du Bois, and later on he moved to Ghana and spent his life, the last few years of his life in Ghana, because he had a good relationship with Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, and the Pan-Africanists. Both of them were Pan-Africanists, and they got along really well. So we even have a place in Ghana called the W.E.B. Du Bois Center in Ghana because of his influence and his what he did to promote Pan-Africanism worldwide. And then another thing he did. So one thing he did he also was the first doctoral student, right?
From Harvard.
Black doctoral student from Harvard. Yep. Yeah. So can you imagine even before the 10 of the millennial and this was like 1895 or something, right?
Till end of the 1800s,
Yeah, and this was actually unprecedented and unheard of for a black person, a person of African descent, to actually go to Harvard and graduate out of Harvard with a doctoral, with his successfully defend his doctoral dissertation. I couldn't imagine writing everything in hand back then.
Right. And presenting on racism to racist people. That is bold. Yeah. That is bold. But yeah. And so the other thing about W.E.B. Du Bois, at least on stateside here, is he had emissaries. He had people who learned from him, and he was held in very high esteem by other Black people who also wanted to spread this concept that Black folks and education, that like education basically is your key to liberation. So a lot of the people who learned from W.E.B. Du Bois are the folks who went out and became the emissaries who set up our historically Black colleges, mine being included. So Florida A&M University was started by Thomas Dusai Tucker, who was an emissary of W.E.B. Du Bois. He started the school up in partnership because they were friends in 1887, right? So all these people go out and they start up these schools, and the point of the schools was to educate Black people, at that time newly freed slaves, not just on how to deal with work with your hands, but also how to understand global politics, how to understand culture, how to understand the humanities, like things like that. And you had to do it under, kind of under the radar, because if people found out, they burn your school down, right? So what they did was they called everything A&M, agricultural and mechanical, or A&T, agricultural and technical. So that when people would come and look, they would say, oh, we're just learning how to repair tractors. We're just learning how to do little things. And then when the folks left, they'd be like, all right, let me teach you about Pan-Africanism, right? So he was a great person. And I feel like, really inspired a lot of other people behind him to put this movement together. And I think it's important, and it's also telling, that we don't hear a lot about the Pan-African conferences that were set up in England, where all of these people who we're talking to you about met up in England to discuss what the game plan was going to be for Black people on an international scale. I think this was like 1912 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people have been trying to bring us together for a long time. And it's very difficult to do, right? Because it's a lot of cultural differences. There are a lot of, interlopers and colonizers who want to, destroy it or whatever. But I feel like if the forefathers,
London, 1900.
1900, see, even earlier, that's crazy. Yeah. So I feel like the forefathers saw the value in us coming together, and they tried to put out an agenda and some plans for us to use unity to not just address issues of, one culture, like not just address, Jim Crow segregation in America, but also to address colonialism and also to address needs that other countries have, particularly countries in the Caribbean that were getting denied access to all kinds of things. So it's important for us to know we all play a role in this society, and I will hope that their work isn't done in vain. I hope that we are able to pick up kind of the baton where they left off and continue to work this thing out, because I think now in the day of internet, they didn't have internet. They did everything by hand and horse and carriage and, boats. We have internet, so we can send a message and it be to you in 2 seconds, right? So we got to take advantage of the opportunities and the technology that we have in order to come together.
Yeah, we live in a time where, like you said, our forefathers dreamed about, where they could just go, because today you could leave today and be in Nigeria tomorrow,
Absolutely.
And they would have loved. I can't even imagine W.B. Du Bois, having to do that, So, can you imagine, first of all, we have 54 African countries united. All the resources, gold, oil, and everything are controlled by us. And we are like 1.4 billion people from the continent, with all these 54 countries being headed by one president, and all the countries will become like states, which will be headed by governors, and being supported by also our brothers in the diaspora, which we make up over 1 trillion. We spend about $1 trillion to make everyone else rich.
Yep.
1 trillion, just in America alone, $1 trillion. That's how much spending power we have. So when I hear people saying Black people don't have money, we don't have this, it's not true. We do have it. And if we use it well, you realize we're going to be able to create generational wealth for those who are behind us. So $1 trillion with 1 billion people putting our resources together will become really powerful and unstoppable. And that's why the forces that be don't want to see it happen. That's why they do everything to derail it. Now, Kwame Nkrumah, in his vision for that, once Ghana gained independence, and I sent a story to Jesse yesterday. I don't know whether he got it, about Malcolm X and what's the name? Maya Angelou meeting in Ghana in 1964.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
I sent you as a message on Instagram.
Oh.
Well, in 1957, Martin Luther King and I think Randolph, what's his full name? Something Randolph?
A. Philip Randolph.
A. Philip Randolph and others went to Ghana, and Martin Luther King flag of the British flag fall and the Ghanaian flag rise. That was the birth of a new nation, and tears came to his eyes. Independence movements with the civil rights movement in the U.S. in the 60s. I don't think it was it was any coincidence that it happened at the same time, because a lot of the people that were involved in the civil rights movements in the U.S. were actually influenced by Kwame Nkrumah, W.B. Du Bois, George Patmore, and so on. So when they saw that African brothers are doing it, we too can do it. And if you read a lot of these, a lot of fathers who have gone before us, you see that they quote a lot from Kwame Nkrumah and all these other African leaders. So a person like Stokely Carmichael actually changed his name to Kwame Ture, which is Kwame from Kwame Nkrumah, and then Sekou Toure from the Guinea. He named himself Kwame Ture because he was so he held them in high esteem. So he actually changed his name too. So that's how much power we have, and that's how much we are related, and how much we are connected, and we are greater. We are great people, and we even see our greatness highlighted when we move on and do big things like that.
Absolutely. So we've got to do whatever we can do to bring people together. And I think the challenge from this is, one, I'm still working on getting people traveling, and I plan on doing my travels now that I'm vaccinated. I'm traveling. So now we need to get our people to start traveling to different countries in Africa. At this point, I'm not even going to put a restriction. Like any country in Africa at this point, travel and go see it and meet people and talk to folks and eat the food and find out, kind of get a feel for, do you think this is a place that you think will sustain long-term investment of your time, energy, effort? Do you think it's a place that you want to be? Do you think it's a place that the people want you to be there, right? Like, go find out. And then what we need to do is kind of craft our game plan for how we want to make that contribution. I don't think that, there are a lot of people and Black people in America, this is a very divisive issue, but I don't think that people in America are necessarily ready to give up their citizenship or anything for something else, because a lot of us feel like, our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents put in so much work here for us to have something, and we shouldn't just leave it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we can't expand. That doesn't mean that we can't be dual citizens. That doesn't mean that we can't help out, because at one point in time, we weren't just American. We were something else, and we can contribute to our greater family and our greater culture as well. I also think, sometimes traveling is just good for your mindset. Before COVID, I tried to get out the country at least once a year, because when you are Black in America, your nightly news is other people who look like you getting shot by police. That's your nightly news, or getting arrested, right? And it's a lot of good Black people that aren't getting arrested, and there are few of us who are making it out not getting shot. But it does something to your psyche when you feel like you're always in a target, right? So when you go other places, and I love seeing Black-owned restaurants, Black-owned businesses, Black banks, like Black people running the country, like just going somewhere where you don't see all that on the news. You can enjoy yourself, not think of yourself as a quote unquote Black person, but think of yourself as a human being and just experience the world. I think it does something to recharge and refresh your spirituality, so that when you come back to this place, you are focused, laser focused on the things that you want to take care of, the things that you can fix, and you don't worry so much about the things that you can't control, right? But it's hard because a lot of people are in a system where they don't necessarily have the ability to travel. And like I've told Fred before, like there are people I grew up with who have never left their city block, let alone left the city, left the state, left the country. So, people, first challenge, get a passport. It's $100. get a passport. First challenge, right? By the end of 2022, everybody should have a passport ready. And I think we just need to start seeing what everybody is doing. Likewise, I will tell you this. I've got a lot of friends who at this point have made the decision to expatriate, and they have moved entirely to Ghana, to Sierra Leone, Liberia, and nobody has expressed to me a desire to return. None of them, 0%. It's different, and it's definitely an adjustment for a lot of people. But I think it feels different when you feel like you're a valuable part of the community, as opposed to where you feel expendable here, right? Yeah. So I think that we have to get people in a position to do that.
All right, let's go through the comments. We have Desire. How you
Desire, doing, what's going on, man?
It says Black everything, melanin power. Yeah,
absolutely.
And Michael has a suggestion for you, Professor. It says, let me suggest that Jesse should register with any of the African universities as a visiting lecturer. That way you would feel obligated to travel to the continent.
Oh, I don't even need the obligation. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I do have a link for you. So I think, my uncle is actually a professor at the University of Ghana. So I can definitely do that connection where where you could go and I'll actually shoot him an email and introduce you and all that stuff. So we can get that going. Thanks for that. I don't know why that never crossed my mind. Thanks for that, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael.
Michael is such a wealth of information. Great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that definitely can happen. I think it's a good idea. Because growing up, we had a lot of people come down and do that. They come as a visiting lecturer, or they come with students from different universities, from Temple University, from other universities, even from NCCU too.
Mm-hmm.
They had that delegation come and they toured the country, study the science department, whatever department, and then came back. They came back more knowledgeable, having a different perspective of the world. Because when you travel, you educate yourself by traveling. You see how different people, act and their different lifestyles, which is very good.
Absolutely. I've been wondering, how does that even happen? I thought it was just a secret room where white people decided. I didn't know there was something I could apply for. So yeah, any information you have on that, please send it to me. Let me know.
Yeah, Black empowerment happening right now.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, so that's where we stand. That's where we stand today. So if you're joining us, we're talking about the Pan-African movement and why it's important that we are together and not, separated. And let's stop the name calling and all that. I don't think it's helpful.
Absolutely.
We have to see that we're one. Forget about all the things, the images that are portrayed on television about our brothers getting jailed here in the US, or image being portrayed about brothers in Africa who are either poor or on the streets, don't have food to eat. That is false. Now, when they did a survey about the happiest countries in the world, most of them are in Africa and the Caribbean. So just go figure, why is that? Because people have very little. Yes, there's poverty, and poverty is a big problem. Unemployment is a big problem on the continent, but they're some of the happiest people. Why is that? That's why when a lot of people leave the Caribbean, leave the US, and go back and see the lifestyle, they feel very happy and fulfilled. And sometimes they don't want to come back, and that's why some repatriate. And one brother who I heard being interviewed said that he's from Texas and he lives in Ghana now. He said that when he's in Ghana, he doesn't feel like he's a Black person. As Jesse said, he feels like he's a human being living in Ghana. And with all the issues that are part of the society, he can ignore all those things and live as a human being.
Absolutely. Yep. As my preacher would say, there is no perfect place. And if you find it, they're not going to want you, right? So the whole thing about it is, we're not telling people everything is perfect, but I think you have to kind of prioritize what's good for you, right? So I think, we see a lot of people who are leaving the United States and leaving the UK and Europe or whatever, and they're coming back. And it's not to say life is perfect. It's to say that, look, I can deal with the issues that I have in one place better than I can deal with here. The biggest difference, I think, is trying to wrap a mindset around this concept of credit, right? like in America, they keep you in debt from birth. So if you're in debt from birth, you're always chasing to catch up. You have to work 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs to catch up with the bills. Well, one of the things that people realize is when you go to a lot of African countries, maybe people don't have everything, but the stuff they have is theirs, right? Like you own it, and you have a pathway to being able to be an owner when you're there, as opposed to signing a contract and being in debt for the next 35 years, right? So it's just those little things I think add up to, in America, it's like if you lose your job or you get sick or something like that, the fear is, how do I pay for everything? Like, what's going to happen? They're going to take my house. They're going to take everything from me. And they will, right? They will, and they'll sell it to somebody else. But I think it's different when you've been able to pick your own parcel of land and to wall your own parcel of land and to build from the foundation the kind of house that you want to live in. and to build relationship with the community that you're going to be in, and to be able to go down and walk to the grocery store and know that the food that you're getting either from the market or from the store is going to be fresh food and not this like GMO stuff that we like pump into you here. It's just different. And I think we've seen stories now of people who, especially like elderly people who retired to Africa, and they go to Africa and all of the ailments and the health stuff that they were dealing with when they were here just disappear over time when they get to Africa, because you're eating better, you're more active. You have a community that's, you're part of, that cares about you. It's different. I'm not here to say, one thing is better than the other or whatever. I just want people to understand that before you make any kind of firm decision about where you want to be for the rest of your life, it probably is helpful to go to a couple different places first and just see what it's like and do your pros and cons chart. And even if you decide I'm staying in the UK, I'm staying in America, whatever, if you decide you're going to do that, still form a relationship, because I think we have a lot of other intangible things to offer that people there oftentimes are looking for here, right? So if you teach a class, why you can't teach people in Africa? Why not? Why you can't do it? So my whole thing is, let's take our skill sets that we do have and the contributions that we do have to make, and let's share, right? And if we share, we learn something from people there, they learn something from people here, then I think it helps our diaspora grow. And that's the biggest thing. If we can empower ourselves, then we will be in a position to be able to shun ourselves from all of this other craziness that we have to deal with. And with the man's media, who's going to be telling us stuff about the Santa Claus figure that goes out and helps the kids. Like, I hate that guy, right?
Well, Michael said on a lighter note, no matter the unity, Nigerians and Ghanaians will still fight. Well, for those of you who don't know what jollof is it's rice that has been cooked in the stew, and so instead of cooking rice with only water and maybe salt, you actually cook it in the stew and all the flavors, and it comes out as such a wonderful meal, well flavored, well spiced with all the herbs and everything with the stew. It could be either beef stew, chicken stew, whatever, ground beef. And you eat it like that. You serve it with some chicken, whatever, and you eat it like that. I don't know whether Jesse's had any desires as GM.
I don't think I have, man. I'm excited about the prospect of having both.
So that's Jamaica one pot rice.
One pot rice.
No, I mean, even if it's Jamaica one pot rice, Nadine, where did it originate from? Okay, but in Jamaica they have another dish called one pot rice. Okay, maybe that's what she's saying. Me and Nadine have a friendly rivalry. So maybe I'll get you a picture of what jollof looks like before we head out here. So any more questions, any comments before we go? I think we're gonna have a hard trivia before we go.
Yeah.
I'll ask you trivias. No one could guess the right answer. So we're gonna keep making it harder. So if you do it, then you've done your research and you've read your history.
Yeah, well, I just want to make a comment. So for anybody who has people, I know a lot of the folks who are watching now have other connections that they consider for having them come on the show. Please link us. We've been reaching out to people, and I think some folks are really adamant about it, and then they get scared when the week comes up. So, we're not here to bite. We're not here to attack anybody. We want to celebrate what your accomplishments are, and we want to build with you. So anybody that you all have that you want to send our way to say, oh, this would be a good guest, please let us know. And I'd be happy to reach out to them so that they can come on the show, tell us a little bit about what they do, and get celebrated by me and Fred. We want to make sure that we're building a family here. And then the last thing I want to say is For those who haven't been following, we're trying to. I'm learning things on Instagram all the time. Oh, there we go. Jollof rice. I take it this is the Ghanaian version.
Yeah, but it's basically the same thing. It's just the different styles that it's cooked in.
Okay.
So this is Ghana jollof rice. Yeah. So that's where these are the ingredients: oil, habanero peppers, cloves, tomatoes, water, Maggi cubes or bouillon cubes, rice, chicken stock, ginger, and onions. Yeah. So let me stop my share over here.
It looks good. I can't wait. I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have both. I've already learned how to answer the question if I have both. Thanks to Ivy. Thanks to Ivy.
Thanks to Ivy, right?
Thanks to Ivy.
Okay, so somebody take me to Ghana. All right. So that's it for us today. So before we go, so Jesse, tell them about talk about the youth about wonderful shirts.
Yes. So definitely feel free to order shirts. Oh, my camera's over here. To order shirts, feel free. We have a link on the Facebook page, and you can order. We've got at this point hoodies, shirts. I think are we able to do hats yet? Maybe not, but hoodies and shirts.
Yeah, I
sure.
think we can add that. I think we might have it. I have to check, but yeah.
Yeah, so definitely feel free to order those. And then also, if you aren't already following us on Instagram, we are at the Pan-Africana Show. You can follow us on Facebook, which is Pan-Africana presented by Afroscope. But yeah, definitely follow us. Keep in touch with us. If you hear about things going on either on the continent or throughout the diaspora that you feel like we need to be talking about, or that we need to put some attention behind, or maybe send a letter to somebody or whatever, share that with us as well. We can post that on our page, but we want to make sure that we're cultivating and growing our community. We look at everybody as family, and we want to make sure that we've got everybody in a position where they can feel like they have an outlet or a platform to discuss their issues on should they want to. So never be afraid to reach out to us, and we will always get back with you.
All right. So, Jesse, do you see my comment? Private comment? Don't say it yet.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about another female warrior. We talked about Queen Nzinga the last time. Another female warrior. So I hope we have a woman on here fired up. Well, I see Nadine, and I don't know who else is joining us, but
Desire, Michael.
Desire. So, and Michael is around. Now, this is a woman. Okay, which woman led her? Okay, I'm trying to see how. Okay, there was a woman who led the Ashanti people to defeat the British before the turn of the 20th century. There's a woman, a queen mother, who led her tribe to defeat the British the first time, and then the second time the British came back with more ammunition and defeated her and sent her into exile. I've given enough clues, so we're going to start a countdown. Who is this woman? What's her name? If we'll give it to you, even if it's just her first name. If you can, even if you butcher the name, we'll still give you a correct answer. Who is this woman?
Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
5.
4. Oh, I think we got it.
We got it? Let's see. Who?
Nadine, it looks like.
Nadine. Oh, what's happening here? My screen is frozen.
Oh, yeah. I think Nadine got it.
Oh, Nadine. Oh, yeah, Nadine. There you go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Queen Mother. Yes. So it's pronounced this way. Let me write it down. So Nadine, we owe you a gift card. So it's this Ya Asantua. She led the Ashanti tribe to defeat the British back in the late 1800s and before the turn of the century. And then they came back, the British came back, got more ammunition. That's when they got the guns and I think machine guns, and came and defeated the Ashantis and then took her into exile. So it's interesting. What happened is the brothers were actually afraid. And she stood up and said, I'm not afraid. Let's gather our troops together and fight these people off. And yes, she fought them off, defeated them. They went back with their tails between their legs and then came back, the cowards as they are. They came and, with ammunitions and defeated them. So that's the history. That's one of that's our female warrior of in the past. So Nadine, yes, I'll get in touch with you with your prize. Amazon gift card. So that's it. So just a shout out to our women. We have great women in history and great women today, like Nadine, doctoral students in North Carolina Central University.
Absolutely.
Yes, and you all are great, and we're proud of you. Keep fighting and keep breaking down those barriers. Yeah. Absolutely. Without you, we're nothing.
Yep. And be on the lookout. We're gonna have a lot of content coming at you. Be it from I'm definitely gonna find artist rendering of this warrior princess. I want the warrior queen on. And we're gonna have some other content too. We're gonna see. I'm gonna take y'all step by step through this DNA journey to figure out what's going on. So definitely be on the lookout on the Instagram page.
Yeah. I just want to show a picture of her. Oh no, that's a Google picture of her that they were able to capture. They're able to capture of her in Excel.
I think I got one. It's small though.
Oh, it's small.
Make it big. Yeah, that's gonna be too small.
Oh, you got it. I think I have
it's
one.
Really small.
Okay.
And I'm curious, what does exile mean? Okay. So when they say exile, they send you away. I get that. But where do you exile somebody if you're invading their country? Like, where do you send them?
Yeah, they sent her to, I think it was Seychelles Island back in the day. Yeah, Seychelles was a place they send people because it was isolated, and so they isolate you and keep you there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you see that's her with a military attire, and then this hair in exile, in the Seychelles Island. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for joining us again. Have a good weekend, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram. And then what was the last one? And then get one of these dope t-shirts. Shirts, we have the hoodies. And yeah. And then we have the t-shirts. All right. Have a blessed weekend. Take care. Bye, everyone.